and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
There is a giraffe moving through the thicket beyond us. And this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Just trying to see if we can find that giraffe for you. It's quite well hidden through the thicket. But welcome everybody. There we go, you can just see the ear. Just hiding through there. Moved off. It was out in the open, and then Murphy's Law, as we started, it decided to move off. Again, good afternoon and welcome on our Sunset Safari. My name is Byron, and on camera this afternoon with me I have Zander, or Eggsy as some of you know him. We have Rebecca and Louise in final control. Good afternoon, ladies, and like I always call them, the voices in my head. It is a scorching afternoon, 34 degrees Celsius, about 94 degrees Fahrenheit, very, very warm. That giraffe might actually come out into the open. Let's just have a look. I'm just going to roll forward a little bit for you. Let's just see if we can get another glimpse of it. There it is, just through the trees. It is moving away. As I mentioned, this is Safari Live. We are coming to you live from the Greater Kruger National Park in an area known as Djuma Game Reserve, based in the Sabi Sands. So welcome, and to all our viewers from all over the world. Lovely to have you with us again. Myself and Zander are trying to relocate on a leopard that was seen this morning. So we are moving around. We haven't seen anything yet. We are in the area. We're going to have a look around very, very carefully and see if we can't find this female. I'm just going to turn the vehicle around quickly. Don't forget, you can send us your questions and comments via Twitter at #SafariLive, or email us questions at WildEarthTV. And myself and Taylor, who is also out with us this afternoon, and I think she's with Brian this afternoon, so we'll try to get through as many questions as we possibly can, and it's always wonderful to hear from all of you. While I scan around for this leopard, why don't you go and say hi to Taylor, who's dying to greet you this afternoon.
Good afternoon and welcome to another, like Byron said, a scorcher of a sunset safari. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me we've got Brian and the Thumb, who unfortunately was an ice cream, but you can see under the hot African sun, that's what happens to it. It melts. Now, this afternoon, what are we doing? Just quickly looking back in the tree, because earlier this morning I was talking to you about the association of the little southern black tits and the bush willows, and very, very briefly I did see a southern black tit on a bush willow, but it of course flew away. So this afternoon I'm thinking of trying to find the lions again, so I'm just trying to find the road in which we used to get into that sighting. I think it's just on the other end over here, but that is my afternoon plan, is to see how the Nkuhumas are doing. But we are not in any particular hurry, as I suspect that they're going to be sleeping on this hot day. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's about 94 degrees Fahrenheit, so not quite as hot as yesterday, but we don't have the cover of the clouds like we did, so it is burning down on our skin. Okay, but let's make our way towards Buffelshoek Dam and see what's happening there. It's a pity that there isn't really any water left in the dam, just that very, very small pan. I'm not even sure if it's dried up with the latest heat. And I can already start to see some vultures flying above. So perhaps we are not too far away from those lions. Right, where is this road? We could be a little bit further along. I think I've forgotten exactly where to go. Byron. Now I'm mixing everybody up to this afternoon because of course Byron and Brian sounds very much the same. Oh, we've got Hyena Road here. So no, we haven't passed where I'm supposed to be going. Oh, there's lots of impala today. They seem to be out and about. And of course they're running away from me. Perhaps we'll get a little glimpse of one or two of them. Let's see if I go very quietly. There they are. Don't run away. Of course. Let's see, this male will probably pop into a gap. It seems as though the boys tend to hang around a little bit. Off they go, slowly looking for something to eat. Like we always say, we have to stop at least once to admire the impala. Just have a little glimpse, make sure that they're still doing all right. And they're looking good. They're fattening up nicely. These males, their necks are looking a lot thicker than what they did a few weeks ago when they were a little bit on the ribby side. You can also see all their ribs, which is not good. A little bit of rib showing just there, but I suspect nothing too serious. Not Byron, what is wrong with me today? Brian, I apologize. The sun has also melted my brain. Have we gone past it? I think so. Does this go to Buffelshoek Dam? It does. Is this the most eastern or western access? I've forgotten now. Okay, we'll go around here then. The navigation is going very well, as you can see this afternoon. I think I'm on the right track. I think I'm just being a bit silly. Oh yes, I remember now. I've got to go on the spire break, and then we will get to the lions. But my money's on sleeping cats to start off with, and then perhaps as it cools down, maybe then they will start to do something. Or I'm really hoping in this situation that I'm going to be wrong, though. I hope that all the lion cubs are up and jumping around and everybody's eating or doing all sorts of circus acts. We'll go through here. A little bit bumpy as we go down along the fire break. Brian's holding on for dear life. Woo! Yes, now I remember exactly. This looks very much familiar. Too long now. We should start. There, the vultures. See them all taking off as we come around the corner. Now I've got to keep my eyes peeled for the lions, and I'm looking for the shadiest shade. Off they go. Oh, and I even see a giraffe walking at the back here. That's very risky. See, can you see that giraffe walking off over there? I wonder if he knows that. Oh, Nkuhumas, where have you gone? This is very interesting. Look at what we've got here. We've got the carcass, as you can see. But where are the lions? That makes sense as to why there is a herd of giraffe passing through this area. Perhaps we'll have to go and check closer to the dam. But you can see that there is virtually nothing left on here. The vultures have obviously tucked in and had a lovely meal. The flies are taking serious advantage of this carcass, which is quite revolting. Getting any little bit of moisture they can out of the feces. Look at all of them there. Quite beautiful though. If flies could be pretty. Look at that beautiful, brilliant blue and those little green flies. Now, flies belong to the Diptera family, which is very, very large, of course. So I wouldn't know where to begin to start telling you exactly which type of flies these are, but I'd love to catch one of them and put them under a microscope. I think that they would look particularly beautiful under that microscope in the tent. But let's carry on. Let's continue the search of the Nkuhumas. I think that they are possibly just going to be up ahead, maybe under some shade. So we'll keep our eyes peeled in the drainage line, which we know that they absolutely love. Woo! Got a little back whiff of that buffalo. Let's go through slowly so we don't miss them. Hope you that are all watching are keeping your eyes open. I think I'm going to carry on having a little search around here for the Nkuhumas. Perhaps I'm going to have to do some off-roading to find them. And while I do so, let's go back to Byron for a little update. I don't know. Still haven't found the Nkuhumas yet. I'm not sure exactly where they've gone. Let's see if I can see any footprints here at the carcass. I will go around and have a look at Buffelshoek Dam, but perhaps at a little bit of a later stage. I'm just scanning over here. I'm trying to think where they would go now. Well, that drainage line is quite nice. But let's do a little loop-de-loop. See exactly where they've gone. I mean, just check here. I just want to double check if I can see any good footprints. Nope. Nothing here just yet, so I suspect they've gone that way. But we'll do the scenic way around and go back and check that area. Let's get back to a road, an actual road. At the moment we're just on a 2-track. Looks very much like a road, but that's what happens when you have 150 million vehicles driving in and out on the same track. Now, because it's so hot today, we're going to have to find a watering hole at some point as well and have a look and see if we can find anything. Maybe we will go and check Chele Pan. That's one of my favorite spots. This morning, remember I said that it's often a good spot to check if you are looking for elephants. It's been promising every other time I've been there on a hot day. Maybe as well, once Rexon and the rest of the Djuma guides get out this afternoon, perhaps we can go to the Djuma Pan and have a little look around there too, the Gowrie Dam. Maybe there's something there. And I know that Byron was wanting to follow up on that mysterious leopardess we saw this morning, who we solved the problem, and we worked out that it is indeed the young Ingrid Dam's female. It would be quite nice to find a little bit more about her. I did try, had a little look, but it's proving quite difficult to see. Now I want to show you an older carcass of a buffalo, which the lions killed quite a few weeks ago. Another carcass here. You can see that skin now really starting to bake into the sun, and I'm sure it will be quite stiff and gross. But no more flies. Doesn't look like there's really any insects left at this carcass at all. But this was a while ago. This is where we had a very hysterical sighting of the young cubs that were climbing on top of this carcass, as well as climbing the very small apple leaf and any other tree that they could get their paws onto. I'm sure you must remember that. It was really hysterical. I think I laughed my way through about an hour of that sighting. I couldn't even speak. The tears were just rolling down my eyes. Well, that's what I'm hoping to see again. I'm itching to watch those naughty little Nkuhuma cubs play around. That would be really, really nice now, wouldn't it? But we just need to try and find them. So we shall continue the search of finding the Nkuhumas. I thought it was going to be very easy this afternoon, I must admit. I thought I was going to just arrive there and they were still going to be eating on their carcass, but apparently not. And it's no surprise really to us to see them moving off before they've even finished a carcass, because like I've said previously, they seem to be the most successful lion pride in the Sabi Sand. Let's go through here. You've forgotten, you can send Byron and myself questions this afternoon, either by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@WildEarth.TV. So I suppose I should keep my eyes on the road though as we drive along. Where are your animals? It's like everybody's still having a good old siesta. Not quite ready to come out. Oh, sorry, I almost ate a fly. I'm going to have to bring my fan out in a minute and fan myself, and hopefully that will keep the flies at bay. Go away, flies. Let's go down here. Alright, still nothing. Very sad. Summer is definitely coming as well. What else have we got? Always looking for new flowers and plants that are perhaps popping up. Haven't seen too many just yet though. I'm just checking here for some lion tracks. Nope, just looks like lots of waterbuck have been here, lots of wildebeest. There were some zebra tracks, all muddled up in the sand. And Brian said this afternoon he'd like to find some elephants as well, so we're definitely going to have to get us a group of elephants. Sorry, I just had something crawling on my leg. I don't know what that was. It didn't feel particularly great though. Right. I need to very quickly have a little chat to Byron, so please excuse me just for a moment. Byron for Taylor. Byron, if you don't have comms with FC, do you mind heading back to the DRC? Copy. Right, so it seems as though the gremlins have decided to join up in a group and completely attack Byron, but we'll get him back on board for the moment. So you're just going to have to put up with me for a little bit longer, and hopefully in this time we'll be able to find something really interesting. But at the moment the only things that are around are the flies, and they're quite annoying. Now I think we're going to go down in Yala Road and have a little look around there too. There's lots of nice big trees and it's not too far from the dam. I did have a little look at the dam and I couldn't see anything that was a lion. I wonder where they've decided to go. And the next closest dam in Buffels Hook I had a look at too, but unfortunately there were lots and lots of zebra and things around, so I don't suspect that they are there, but we'll carry on. Oh, Brian, isn't it so nice when we get to a shady point? We're sitting in a little bit of a drainage now and the temperature's dropped a few degrees Celsius. It's quite pleasant. I have a message for you, Rebecca. Rebecca, Byron wants to know if you can please try the bushwalk channel. We're having, oh, I found the lions. I've got them. Now, Brian, this is going to have to take some really good camera work. Everybody close your eyes, you're not allowed to see anything just yet. So we'll have a look at the bushes if you need to have a look at the bushes. I just want to get into position very quickly to look at the lions, but it's going to take some sneaky maneuvering, but we'll get there. And I've got this whatever that is on me, crawling on me. Sorry, those whales came from me, I touched it. Hello lions, you guys are very naughty. Look at all of them sitting there. Well done, Brian. We're having a good giggle. Look at all of them looking at us. And of course, we are looking at them as well. Fantastic. Very sneaky lions. But they look absolutely exhausted. Now, I'm exhausted just looking at them and very hot. I'm sitting in the blazing heat. So I'm going to take a sip of water. I do apologize. Otherwise, my tongue is going to stick to the palate and I'll be in a bit of trouble. Milton, good afternoon to you to a ridiculously hot Africa. Now you're wondering what the temperature is. It is hard to say. This feels like it's a lot warmer now. It is about a 94 degree Fahrenheit or 34 degrees Celsius. It's rather warm. I wish I could cuddle up and join the lions under a little bit of shade, but yes, it is indeed. It is sweltering. There is an array of animals that I'm sure will be wallowing in the mud and drinking lots of water today. And I know that Brian and myself are going to keep drinking lots of water too throughout the day. So you're going to hear the clanging of the water bottles quite a few times, but like I said yesterday, unfortunately your mouth starts to feel like a leather sandal if you don't keep drinking small sips of water. These poor cubs, if they think that this is hot now, well, they better be ready for January, which last year, well this year, at the beginning of this year, it was an absolute scorcher, the whole of January and February. We had days that were well into the excess 110 degree Fahrenheit, maybe even pushing to about 120 degree Fahrenheit. It was horrendously hot. Almost some days were 46 degrees Celsius, in case you prefer degrees Celsius. Lions, I'm not leaving your side today because I'm not going to have you chase a buffalo again like you did yesterday. That was very naughty of you. Brian and I want to see the hunt happen today. You owe us that. We are always so kind to you. You can see the cubs are a little bit restless from the heat, but the adults aren't really putting up with their nonsense today. No, she's not having anybody suckle from her, and I don't blame her. They're making up, saying, I'm so sorry, big apologies, and a big yawn. Be careful not to harass anybody, because the tolerance levels I don't think are going to be as high as they normally would. Now I'm also not sure which Birmingham is here. It's quite difficult to see, and I'm just counting the lionesses. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all 5 Nkuhuma lionesses are here, accompanied by 1 Birmingham, who I haven't been able to identify just yet, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubs, which is good. That's very, very good that they are here. Nice to having a little groom. And this is a fantastic spot for these lions because, like I said, there's a little bit, a teeny tiny bit of mud left in Buffelshoek Dam, which we'll show you a little bit later when I maneuver around. At the moment I've got a big tree blocking our view, and I suspect the same thing is going to happen that happened yesterday, which is where some buffalo obviously came down to have a little drink at Buffelshoek Pan, and of course the lions were waiting close by and must have heard them and then made their move. Kitty kitty bang bang. So you have informed me of some wonderful information, so thank you for that. You are saying that all mammals have 7 pairs of, well, 7 vertebrae, and you're wondering if lions perhaps also have 12 ribs. Now, I've never been able to count the ribs of a lion even when they were thin, but I can't remember seeing too many. So perhaps they do indeed. That is something I'm not sure, and I've never really ever come across as to reading about how many ribs a lion has. That is a very nice one. So maybe you can help me and do a little bit of sneaky Googling, as I have a book here, but it's not really in-depth about the skeletal structure of the various animals. I'd have to get a very special book, or perhaps look at a diagram and then go from there. And unfortunately, the diagrams in my book are lions with flesh on them. All the cubs are obviously getting hungry. Now, don't blame those lions for also moving. Oh, did you see that? That lioness just rolled over with 3 cubs on top of her belly. She did that with absolute ease. Now they're going to fight over which is the best teat. You can turn up your volume, you can hear the gutsy noises that the cubs are making. My goodness, I feel as though I definitely did not bring enough water with me. I'm going to need about 37 million litres today. Now, there's one little cub that's quite interesting. It's unfortunately our mangy friend, one of the little cubs, but seems to be doing all right. And I know that Diane spotted that the little one has a floppy ear, which is indeed correct. Now, unfortunately, I think that that is a result of the mange, but we'll see. These cubs are lucky. They're eating almost every single day, so the mothers that are producing a little bit of milk will be giving them extra nutrients, but of course they're mainly feeding on solids now. So they should be alright. I need to, in a moment, call the sighting in, just to let everybody know that I have found them. I'll let you know now. Rex is just coming on air. Rex and for Taylor. Very well. I'm very well, thanks. I've relocated the Nkuhuma Pride. They're just on the southern end of Buffelshoek Dam. It's just myself here. Here we go. Just letting Rexon know about... just letting Rexon know about the lions. I can hear some branches breaking in the distance, and there's an elephant coming out of the bushes. Look at that. Oh my goodness. This is going to be action-packed. It seems like it's an elephant bull that's charging out of here, by the looks of it. You can see the lions have got their heads up straight away. The Ellie bull has now stopped briefly. He's in the far left-hand corner of your screen. I think he could have possibly smelt these lions. Okay, you see how he's paused briefly? Maybe he's seen them. They're not far away. Come on, elephant, make your move. Now, this elephant bull is not really going to be worried by this pride of lions. It seems to be quite a large one. Fairly mature. Now, it's going to be the lions that are going to have to do the worrying. Because of those little cubs, they run risk of being squashed. Look at him, he's a beautiful elephant, and he's going to come straight out towards these lions. Now, you can see the lions getting up. No, don't come to me, thank you. Gosh, why don't you go back just a little bit? No, we're going to sit here. They're all running. Oh, lions, you better run. You're going to get chased. See the Ellie bull, how he's lifted up his head? He's not bothered. I really think he's just going to have a little bit of fun with these lions. He hasn't made any trumpeting sounds, which a female elephant would have made if she was with her calves. He's coming out and he's showing the lions who really is the king of the jungle. Hello, big boy. Come on, lions. Bye-bye, and off you go. Okay, coming right past. No, come here. Hey, big boy. Hey, it's not me you want to chase, it's these other fluffy creatures. That's very sneaky of you standing here. But you can see, like I said, not bothered at all. A little head shake every now and then. But he's really not too perturbed. Hello, big boy. Just gonna go forward. Just gonna move out of the way here. He's looking at the lions. He's not really bothered too much by me, but I am just watching him. It's okay, big boy. We're not the ones that you want. They're the lions. Let's see what he's going to do. It's okay, big boy. I'm just going to move away. The lions are sitting rather close to him. It's okay. I'm going to get on the other side of him. Now, he's slightly agitated, and I don't blame him. Let's sit over here. He has got lions watching him carefully. It's always good just to be on your toes with the elephants. Remember, they're the only ones that if something were to go wrong on the absolute slim chance, they're the ones that you've got to be careful of. It's okay, big boy. So we'll give him the right of way. He can now see lions on both sides, that group, and then the other group is down and actually seeking shelter in the dam itself. But he doesn't really look too bothered. He's got his ears slightly sort of spread at the moment. He's actually smelling us now. He smells every now and then. He smells the lions again. You can see how he's turning that trunk. Hello, boy. You just carry on with your day. Don't bother about us. We just here observing. But he's a lovely bull. We don't often get to see too many big elephant bull around, so that's really nice to see two of the mighty animals in Africa. Everything's gone very quiet. There's just the odd fly buzzing around. The cicadas aren't chatting anymore. The lions are still. The elephant is still. See how he's now smelling the lions? Now, the wind is just picking up a little bit, which is actually quite refreshing. It's blowing a nice cool breeze onto us as well as all the lovely animals, so I know that they will be appreciating it. Now, Kathy, you're wondering if the lion cubs can survive in extreme heat conditions like we've been experiencing over yesterday and today. They can indeed. They're very resilient. They'll sit in the shade. I've even seen lions sitting in the mud, not quite mud how elephants and rhinos and buffalo sort of wallow in it, but on the hard, wet mud. And that can help cool them down. Otherwise, they pant and they sit in the shade. But yes, they are well adapted to this. And no, I don't think we'll lose any. I think that the cubs are quite strong. And they're used to these conditions. Well, they become sort of accustomed to them quite quickly and quite easily. But it's a Mexican standoff here. Who's going to make the first move? Two females went off with all the cubs. And 3 lionesses and 1 Birmingham boy stayed behind to keep a close eye on this elephant. Very curious with us as well. But I'm also sitting downwind of the elephant, so I don't think he can smell us too well. Not that he doesn't know that we're here. Let's see, are you going to go forward or are you going to give up? He's quite happy in the shade. Now, mind warp, I like your thinking. You're saying that it's a very good tactic that the lions are using by two of the Nkuhuma females going off with the cubs, and then to also have the rest of the Nkuhumas in the Birmingham sort of staying behind to try and draw the attention of the elephant. I don't think this elephant is too stupid, though. I think he knows that the other lions are down below, and I suspect that's where he's going to go. I'm sure he's on his way to the mud to have a little bath. And those adult lions and the Birmingham, they'll be the first ones to run if this elephant makes another move. Oh, he's turning around. We'll see what he does next. I'm just going to keep an eye on the lions. Very quiet. I'm just sitting back, enjoying everything that's going on. It's not often that we get to see the lions and the elephants at such a close quarters. I mean, that elephant really didn't have to do anything to get those lions up and running. He just had to walk towards them. He didn't even need to shake his head or open his ears. He flared them slightly. Just his sheer presence was enough. Ooh, what was that? So interesting noises in the background. Sorry, Bex, can you go again with the name there? I just had the game drive talking over the top of you. I'm so sorry. I still can't hear what Rebecca's saying, but I'll just repeat the question anyway. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for spelling that out to me. Nunez, there was a little bit of interference at both times when Rebecca was trying to give me the name of the viewer asking the question, and it's quite awkward sometimes. It's sort of like when somebody introduces themselves to you and you don't get it, so you say pardon or excuse me, and then they say it a second time and you still don't get it, and then the third time you just sort of go, yes, it's very nice to meet you, because you can't bear to it's so embarrassing having to ask a third time. So Nunez, you'd like to know, well, before I answer that, let's see what this Ellie's going to do. This could be quite funny. I will remember your question. Look at the lions getting straight up, not hanging around at all, and he's not too bothered. He's just going to make his way down to the watering hole. Look at the lions watching him. Oh, and now you can see the females watching as on anticipation, because he's going to realize that the cubs are down at the bottom if he hasn't, but he's going a wide berth now. And like I said, he doesn't mind. He doesn't care that the lions are sitting here. That's great news for him. All he wants and all he's interested in is the mud. You can see the lioness retiring back to the shade. Snap one or two photos of this madam walking past. It's quite a beautiful sight, and I'll try and park in a way that we'll be able to watch the lions and hopefully watch this male elephant have a bit of a mud bath. I think the lions are actually going to lie perfectly for us. Now, Nunez, sorry, you were asking about the head shake. A head shake is typically an aggressive move by an elephant, but normally it's accompanied with a trumpet, but when you're a big elephant bull, you really don't have to worry about that at all. Hello, beautiful. His face is healing quite nicely, Mr. Nkuhuma. We'll have a closer look now, but let's reposition. I'm going to try and reverse back, and I think we'll get a shot of both animals. Don't have to go too far back. Oh, and I found another male lion too. That's quite interesting. He's hiding just in front of us. Sneaky. How's that? Is that alright? That actually is quite lovely because you've got everything. You've got the elephant in the background, and you've got him having a lovely mud bath, the sun in the perfect direction, and then the lion's cooling off nicely in the shade. Isn't that a lovely sight? Oh, that's exciting. Finally, Byron has fought off the gremlins. Perhaps he picked up and used a stick like I used one the other day. And I know that Byron was also indeed looking for elephants this afternoon.
I hope so too, Taylor. Yes, everyone, I'm back finally. And look at this. We found some elephant. And look at that baby. Isn't that incredible? I'm not too sure. A few viewers were asking me this morning and yesterday if I'd seen the very young elephant around, the little baby, and I think this might be it. It's a tiny, tiny little one. So cute. They've come down to drink at the Vuyatela waterhole where we are now. And they've got some other visitors around here too. If you look off to the left, there's a hippo, and there's also a buffalo. So it's all happening here at the dam at the moment. But these elephants are always fascinating to watch when they are drinking, and it's very, very interesting. Look at their behavior. While they're drinking, they're splashing for clean water. They're trying to get this waterhole is actually pumped from a borehole to try to keep some of the water in it during this dry season that we've had. And you'll see they're trying to splash away the dirty water and get to some of the cleaner water. Look at that. Really fantastic. Some of the herd has moved off a little bit. Looks like they're just going to go and feed. I think what we're going to do is probably follow them. So I'm going to reposition quickly and follow these elephant. I just love elephant. They're one of my favorite animals, so to be able to spend time with them like this is great. They've had a good drink. I don't think they're going to walk too far. Probably just going to head off into the thicket or towards all these trees around here where they can get some good food. So let me try and move it up a little bit and maybe get them walking close towards us. Another young one with a large female. So we usually call this a breeding herd of elephant, and basically it's just generally the females with all the younger elephant. The adult males tend to move around by themselves or in small groups and only really meet up with the herd when they're looking to mate. Hold on, I'm going to get us into a position now. Oh, this is fantastic. There we go. I'm hoping that other little one follows. I'm sure it will. So Wyatt has asked us a question, and Wyatt would like to know how good is an elephant's eyesight. So Wyatt's elephant eyesight is very good, and I can only talk from experience from what I've seen when they've spotted us when we're walking through the bush and the distances, but I believe from about 100 to 200 meters away they can easily see movement, and their eyesight is very good. And it's not like occasionally some people think rhino eyesight is not very good, and their eyesight is not great. But they can definitely still pick up movement from about 80 meters away or so. But elephant's eyesight is much, much better than that. You are not just going to hide behind a bush. An elephant will see you. Look at that one suckling. That's lovely. Really, really great. And I know I've got some friends and guests that are tuned in this afternoon, and hoping they're all enjoying it. I know they all enjoy elephant, and we actually did a walk where we recently walked into some elephant and viewed them on foot, which was really great. This just a few weeks ago. So big hello to Clive and Dylan and Craig, Nick and Grant. Hope you're all enjoying this. Send through your questions and maybe you learned something. I could spend hours watching this elephant. It really is just amazing. You can see how they've splashed mud all over themselves and water to help them cool down. You can actually see little bits of mud hanging off of them. Elephants love water. I've seen elephants swimming on many times before, where they actually go right into the waterhole or into the dam and swim. And if need be, even across big rivers, where literally just the trunk sticks out of the water, and they'll cross massive rivers like the Zambezi and the Chobe River up in Botswana and Zambia. So I'm hoping that female brings the little calf close by. And let's see, usually if you sit quietly and still, the elephants tend to become very relaxed very quickly, and if they choose to approach you, then they're completely comfortable. So maybe we're lucky. They're heading this way. Look at that little one. Isn't that just amazing? So James Baird just sent through a comment. He was saying that the baby elephant that I'm wanting to see is actually in another herd and is even smaller than this one. So James, I'm definitely going to keep a lookout for that little one. Hopefully the herd hasn't moved off too far. Let's see where this female goes. It hasn't quite followed the same path as the other elephant. She's moved a little bit more behind us, when the others are still moving off to our south. But I'm sure she'll loop around. Can hear some of the summer birds again calling in the distance. We've got the European bee eaters, which I can hear at the moment. And the red-chested cuckoo, we still need to see if we can get one on camera. Some of our birding enthusiasts. She seems to be moving up around us a little bit. See all that dust. Let me just reposition again. See if we can get a little bit closer. The other ones are feeding just off to our right. So let me move around there. Maybe this female will come and join the herd. Wicked Ange has just sent us a comment, and thank you, Wicked Ange. She has just said that she is very thankful for the peaceful elephant sighting, and I'm so glad you're enjoying it as much as I am. You know, often in sightings like this, and I always tell my guests too, you don't really have to speak. You can just sit and enjoy it. Watch them feeding and moving off. You can actually smell the elephant now. The wind is, we're sitting upwind from them. Sorry, downwind from them, so we can actually smell them. A bit of a musty smell. And oh, there's one approaching behind us, a younger one. He's just changed direction a little bit. Yeah, it's following that other female again. This is great. I said this morning I hope to find some elephant today. So it was a good idea to head towards a waterhole. And as I mentioned, it warmed up quite a lot from about 10 or 11 o'clock this morning. The clouds disappeared, blue skies, and the temperature just increased. It was much cooler this morning with the bit of rain that we had, or the threatening weather, and now it's very, very hot. Cindy has asked us a question, whether or not the elephant population in South Africa is stable. Cindy, the elephant population is most definitely stable. It's actually, we've got a very large population of elephant at the moment, which is fantastic. But all that means is we do have to be careful at some point in terms of the amount of damage that elephant can do to an area, especially when it is so dry. They can break trees when they are looking for food, and they cause a lot of devastation. But you know, that is part of nature, and I think as soon as we get a lot of rain again, the bush will recover. But the elephant population is really doing well in South Africa at the moment. I'm going to reposition again. Let's try and get another different angle on these elephants. It's lovely to be able to follow them like this, just see what they're doing and watch them feeding, and they're completely relaxed, not worried by us at all. Just one moving off there now. See how the little one actually tries to stay as close to the mother as possible. Still not nervous, but they just feel a lot safer and a lot more comfortable around the mothers. You can see the female hasn't even worried that we are around here. Give me a second. I'm just going to drive around here and stop and wait for them, and hopefully they come past us. Don't forget to send us your questions, #SafariLive, or email us questions@WildEarth.tv. It's always great hearing from our viewers. And just even if we just know that you are really enjoying what we're seeing as much as we are. It's so fantastic to be able to bring you live to the African bush and allow you to enjoy these sightings with us as we see them. And Bethany, who's watching all the way from England, she says hello, and she's really enjoying this elephant sighting with us. And Bethany, it's lovely to have young viewers like you. You're only 6 years old. Lovely to have viewers like you watching and enjoying it, and hopefully learning a little bit too. So thank you very much for writing a message to us. So Abdul has asked us a question about how we are able to tell the difference between male and female elephant. So Abdul, there are a few different ways. One of the ways is, and you can actually see with that female that we're focused on now, if you have a look at her forehead, it is actually quite angular, almost at a 90-degree angle. Do you see that very sharp, square forehead? And the males, their foreheads are much rounder. So they're actually a little bit rounded compared to the females who have these angular shaped foreheads. So that would be one way if you're looking from a distance. The other way is, and hopefully some of these females come out from behind the bushes and I'll show you, the mammary glands of the females tend to stand out quite a bit, and they are situated under the front legs. So you can see that very carefully. And we'll see if this one female does move past us, and you'll see that very, very clearly too. And generally size too, you know, the males, big males get much larger than the females. But I think also the more you see the elephant, the easier it becomes to tell the difference between male and female just by looking at them. So Shani would like to ask us how many elephants generally travel together, and if the youngsters or the young elephant, if they hold on to the tails of the mother. So Shani, elephant herds may vary. So this is a fairly small herd, but I've seen herds of, or small groups of 3 or 4 elephant together. This one looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8, so not a large group. And but you may get elephants up to 100 or 150 in certain areas. I've seen very large herds, especially up in Botswana and that. You tend to see a lot of elephant moving together. So it does vary. The males may move around in smaller groups, where you could possibly get 1 or 2 males moving around, occasionally up to 4 or 5. But those are the big dominant males that probably just don't enjoy moving around with the herd as much. They prefer to go and walk a little bit slower and look for food in different areas. And whether or not the youngsters hold the tails of the mother, I think that's from a Disney movie, if I'm not mistaken. I've never seen it. They often walk very close behind the mothers, but I've never seen them holding the actual tail with their trunk. So I think that comes from a Disney movie. If I'm not mistaken, it was Dumbo, perhaps. Have a look at how that female is actually feeding. Now this is very interesting. She's broken off a branch, and what they do is they put it in their mouth and they twist it. You can see her actually twisting it. And what she's doing is she's stripping the bark off of that little branch, because that's where all the good food is, all the nutrients, all situated in the bark. So they'll strip the bark off and then drop the rest of the branch. Very interesting to see. So Elizabeth has asked us, when do the baby elephants lose their hair? And Elizabeth, I'm assuming you've seen that really, really young little baby, and it's still probably quite hairy. You see, elephants don't really lose all their hair. They've got very, very fine hair on their body, but it's not always easy to see. It's a lot easier to see when they're really young. So they do still have fine, thin hair on the body, but very, very little. So they don't lose it altogether. Now, with all these little elephants around, Taylor's got some more little animals she'd like to show you.
We've got exhausted Nkuhuma cubs. They seem to have used all their energy after being chased around by that elephant. Look at that other lioness. She is now using a piece of rock or something as a pillow, which I can't imagine is a very comfortable pillow. I suspect she hasn't had a microfiber pillow before, and she's uncertain of that. But it is very hot here. You should see that I look like I'm glistening glitter, but it's not glitter, unfortunately. It's perspiration, because it is very, very hot here. Working on my tan, of course, my farmer tan, that is. Short and long sleeve tan, the V-neck tan, the hat tan. I've got a very white forehead. Perhaps one afternoon I'm going to have to wear an Alice band and no hat to try and even out the tan, but we'll work on that just before I go on holiday. At the moment it's not so bad. Everyone around at Wild Earth has seen my ridiculous looking tans, and they've laughed and got it out of their system now, and now they don't seem to bother anymore. Oh, and I have the best sock tan. I've got the whitest feet too, which is quite lovely. Now, if I was a lion, I'd probably not be very scared of water today, and I'd go and sit in it to keep nice and cool. But of course I don't think that's really going to happen with the lions. Oh, we've got some new friends joining us, coming to look at the Oompa-Loompas. Oh, they're not really called that, but it's quite funny to say every now and then. Oh, and I'm so thankful for this breeze that is coming through, and I hope it picks up a little bit more and try and keep us a little bit cooler. Hi! Just saying hello to all the wonderful people coming through. But they are very quiet. Now, looking at these lions, we can start to see that on the lion cubs there, that very white sort of line is popping out now. And Peter and Virgit were wondering exactly what is the function of that white line. Now, it's quite interesting how some of the animal species have made this, or have got this adaptation, and that is actually to help reflect light back into their eyes, so they can help them see a little bit better at the dark time. Remember when we saw the cheetah? They have the black teardrops going down their eyes, and now that's the complete opposite, because cheetah are predominantly hunting during the day. They've got those black sort of teardrops going down their eyes, and that doesn't reflect any light in their eyes at all. So different adaptations for different things. That's why I love that nothing is random in nature. Everything is there, just like the little spots that you can see on the cubs on their legs, as those will help for camouflage when they are younger and when they're a little bit more helpless, but they start to fade. Sometimes the adult lions will actually keep the spots on their legs. It, of course, just depends on genetics. Oh, that was a big sigh. Did you see that? Pant, 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 and big sigh of relief. It's very hot, but at least we survived the big elephant bull. And I'm sure that was quite scary for these little ones, seeing something so enormous coming straight towards them. But luckily, the lionesses are quick thinkers, and they always think of the cubs first and try and move them out of the way. But now look at this one, who's rolled onto its back and having a great time, having a little sleep. One of the young male cubs. Hello, beautiful. Now this looks like a female. Oh, is it? No, it could be a little boy. I'm starting to see the tufts of hair on the side of their face. Let's see if it is indeed a boy. It's so difficult at this age to start telling the difference between them unless you are seeing the specific parts that make them either a male or a female. There we go. But did you see the little tufts of hair coming from the side of this one's face? I suspect that this is indeed a young male. Now, don't worry, young man. Before you know it, you would wish that you wouldn't have to grow a big mane, because I can't imagine how hot the Birminghams must be, as their manes seem to grow bigger and thicker every single day in this heat. I know what it feels like having very thick hair under this hat. I almost wanted to shave it off yesterday, but I suppose I don't think that would suit me, so I shall keep the long blonde ponytail. I'm trying to hear who's shouting. It's just the buffalo weavers who are making a little bit of noise behind us. Of course, as normal, reconstructing their nest, the hardest workers that we see out in the bush. Fast asleep. Just one up on the bit of the wall, having a good view at everybody else. Now, that's actually not a bad spot where this little cub is sitting, because the higher up it is, the more wind that is going to reach it, where the others are lying in sort of a dip and seem to be quite sheltered for the wind. Oh, they don't know what they're missing. Safari Ginny, hello. It's nice to hear from you again. You were wondering what on earth happened to the rain forecast this afternoon. Well, I'm not sure. Like I always say, in South Africa, we can't predict weather either, unfortunately. It's supposedly supposed to start building up this afternoon to rain this evening, but we shall see. I hope it does, though, because we do need quite a bit of rain, though. You can see not really any clouds, just a vulture and, of course, the sun. But everything happens so quickly out here in the Lowveld that it could indeed change. It looks like there's a little bit of a haze in the sky. It's quite difficult to see, though. But maybe we will. I might have to do a rain dance again soon, but not today. Just in case you're thinking of getting one out of me, I'm refusing. But perhaps tomorrow morning I shall do one for you if we haven't had any rain this evening. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll see if the weather is going to be, or the weather apps are going to be right this evening. And we watch this lovely white-backed vulture, the most common vulture that we see around the carcasses and around the lions, having a little groom, sitting quite nicely on this log. Now, the vultures must get quite hot as well with that extra added layer of down feathers that they have to try and keep them warm when they reach a few thousand feet in the air and the altitude starts to get a bit thinner. It starts to get quite chilly as well. So I wonder how those down feathers affect them. But you can also see that this vulture is enjoying the breeze that's coming through. And if I was that vulture, I'd have my wings spread right open so I could cool every little inch of my body. Oh, I'm sure you can hear it gusting now. It's picked up quite a bit. Look how that beak is so robust. And you can see why. The buffalo's hide is no challenge for a leopard-faced vulture or even this white-backed vulture that we're looking at. They're able to tear right in through that hide and get to all the lovely juicy bits. That's such a beautiful shot of a silhouette. Here's another one, sitting a little bit up higher. Come on, animals, where are you? I thought it was going to be about time now that we'd have you come and join us for a drink. Just scanning around, having a little look to see if anything's coming. I did hear some zebra sort of alarm calling a little bit earlier, and the lions all popped their heads up, but I don't know if they are coming this way. Oh, off that one goes. Isn't that beautiful? Massive wingspan. Gave the lions a little bit of a fright. All the cubs jumped up. And off it goes to land elsewhere. Not this fella though. This one seems to be staying put for the moment, not too bothered by not having any company anymore. Oh, I think I'm going to have to apply some more sunblock while I'm sitting here baking in the sun. Please excuse me. And you're going to have to let me know as well if I've left any white anywhere. So I'll have to show the camera just now, and you can let me know if I've perhaps missed a spot of sunscreen. Layer up with some SPF 50, and hopefully this will be enough to keep these nasty rays at bay from my very sensitive and fair skin. Welcome, that tuber guy. I believe that you are a new viewer. Please stick around and ask many questions. Now, you've noticed that the lions are panting quite quickly. Now, this is because it is extremely hot. It's about 94 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. I'd also be panting, but I don't think that that would sound very good. It is that hot. Now, I've had to apply some more sunscreen. Brian, do I have anything on my face? Is all the sunscreen gone? I don't know, perhaps you're at home. I can't see if I maybe missed a spot on my face somewhere. Good. Is it good? Yeah. Well, I thought so. I thought I'm very good at rubbing the sunscreen in on my face. Even Rebecca says, yeah, I'm good. I can see who my real friends are already. As I feel a big clump of sunscreen on my nose. Let me rub that in. I'll remember that when we've had spinach for lunch and you all do big, beautiful smiles. Oh, yes, no, there's nothing in your teeth. No, I'm only teasing, of course. I'll rub that in. Got to keep the freckles at bay. Trying to get rid of them, not keep increasing them. But there we go. Now I've popped all the sunscreen on my body. You can see the lions are fast asleep, panting away. Of course, nothing much has changed. And Tucker, you're wondering, do the little lion cubs get muddy like the little elephants do? Now, unfortunately not, Tucker. They're not big fans of going and rolling in the water and in the mud to keep cool. It's only really the elephants, the buffalo, and the rhino, and of course the hippo that seem to enjoy doing that, which is a very effective way to keep cool. I might perhaps go and do that at some point as well. However, what we do see happening with the cubs is when they have eaten a buffalo, they become filthy. They're normally covered in blood and all sorts of dung and you name it. The little lion's cub have it all over them. And then, of course, Mom has the terrible job of cleaning up after the big mess. Now, these look like two of the older cubs, and it's quite typical. It's normally these two older ones that seem to be the cubs that like to suckle the most. And Catherine, you're wondering how old the various cubs are. Now, the teddy bears are must be about three and a half months old now, and then of course we've got the middle-aged cubs, which are probably closer to about 5 months old, and then of course the two first cubs that we saw suckling, and I think that they are almost 6 months old now. It only seems to be two lionesses that have still got the suckle marks, and of course the oldest lioness of the two oldest cubs, the female with a very hairy chin, she is not producing any more milk anymore, and which is fair enough. The little ones are old enough to not suckle. Oh, a big yawn, showing those nice teeth. Oh, she gave a little bit of saliva spray there. Perhaps she's going to get up and move towards the rest of the pride. She's doing some big yawns, which is normally an indication that they're going to get up and start moving. And I'm sure if she does get up, we'll have all the little ones following her. Have a quick groom before she does go. Now, don't worry if you have only counted 7 cubs, it's because one is with the rest of the pride, just in case you got a little bit worried there. Still trying to suckle away. I would prefer it if this lioness did get up and walked back towards the rest of the pride, so Brian and I could reposition and we wouldn't be staring into that hot African sun. Oh, that one's having a good dream. It looks like it's dreaming of suckling or something. No, I'm just teasing. I think it's just because it's so hot and it's breathing quite quickly, but fast asleep. A little bit dirty underneath the chin. You can see this one hasn't been groomed by mom for a few days. It's quite difficult to reach those spots, and that's when it is so important to have a strong bond between the various members of the pride so they can help you and clean those spots that are hard to reach. Hello. Doesn't it look like this little one is looking straight back at you? Now, if perhaps you're just starting to watch the show and you remember yesterday the Nkuhumas killed quite a big buffalo, and I suspected that they were still going to be eating it after they were feeding on it this morning, and I know that Audrey was wondering exactly that. Are they going to go back to their kill? Now, unfortunately, Audrey, you are right. They have indeed finished their kill already. I think they possibly left it to come and have a drink around maybe after breakfast sometime, and they would have left the carcass with a little bit of meat on, and the vultures have taken care of it. There's really just the hide of the buffalo left and lots of bones, which I'm sure the hyenas will move in a little bit later tonight and take care of that. So I think, Audrey, that the lions are going to look for something else to eat this evening, and they're at the perfect spot waiting at the watering hole, hoping that some animals are going to come down and drink, which I suspect is what happened yesterday. It's a very good strategy. It's a strategy that doesn't use much energy. Can't believe they're all sitting on top of each other, though. That must be exhausting, adding to the extra heat. Oh, and one seemed to have got swatted. It's a good way to be woken up. Come on over this side, lovely lady. There's a lot more shade behind us. Another little one getting up. Let's see what this one's move is going to be. Beautiful. I'm going to try and take 1 or 2 pictures of her as she comes close by. Isn't that lovely? Look at her. She's just having a little look at us. Bye-bye, girl. But very much relaxed, even though she's having a little stare. Nothing to worry about. Now, you can see the little ones are going to do probably exactly the same thing and walk straight behind us or even in front of us. It depends on which route they're wanting to take. Here comes one of the older cubs. Well done, little one. They're getting braver and braver. Not bothering and not minding the vehicles at all, but we'll sit very still and I won't talk too loudly. I don't want to scare them. Well done, little one. This one's giving us the evil eye, but I'm sure it's still comfortable enough to carry on going past. What are you going to do, naughty? Isn't this incredible? Oh my goodness, I wish that you were all on the vehicle with me to experience how close that was. That was amazing to see. These 5, are going to get a big shock when they open their eyes and realize that none of the adults are there anymore. It'd be quite funny to actually see their reaction once they realize what has actually gone on. Meg, your very interesting question. You were saying that, what do you think the lions or the animals would do if the vehicles all disappeared for an entire day? Now, that would be quite funny. I wonder if they would perhaps miss us. I think they'd probably prefer without us. I think that they feel like they are celebrities. Imagine having hundreds of different vehicles driving up to you all the time, snapping photos, sitting watching you while you go use the luxury restrooms, while you have a sleep, while you eat, while you pretty much do everything. So I'm sure that they would appreciate the break. But I don't think that the various animals always see vehicles. I mean, how many times do we go 3 or 4 days, sometimes even months, without seeing certain animals? Well, I don't think it would really impact their lives too much. Our little mangy cub seems to be getting a little bit worse. I thought it was going to improve, but let's keep our fingers crossed that this little one does survive. Remember that mange is, of course, natural. Now, it's a very, very hard topic, so I'm just shifting again in my seat. It's very hot here. Now, Lael, you're wondering how on earth do the lions overcome mange? It's quite difficult. You either have it or you don't. I've seen a lioness, an adult lioness, and I have told the story before, where she was covered in psychoptic mange, worse than what this little cub has it. She was almost completely black. She looked like she had been burnt, and she was very weak and thin. Every time she would eat, you could still see the ribs, you could still see the vertebrae on her back, and this lasted for about 4 months before she started recovering. She just seemed to groom herself regularly, lick it. It's quite difficult to overcome it, especially if it is psychoptic mange. But there's a perfect example of someone who pulled through, and perhaps these little cubs will be able to make it through. Remember, it's a parasite that's feeding on the hair follicles, so it's like a type of a mite, I suppose you could describe it. But fast asleep. And one of the little cubs that woke up scurried behind the vehicle, not quite as comfortable as the 2 oldest ones, but I'm not too concerned, because they will get used to us soon enough and walk right past us. I think let's change position though. Let's go just around the corner. We seem to just be doing loops and loops and loops around here. And let's see what the adults are doing. Hello. Oh, that's so much better, not staring into the sun anymore. That's actually quite refreshing. You can see how the Nkuhumas have very selfishly taken up all the shade. Didn't even leave any space for Brian and I. That's not very considerate. Just sitting very patiently. I'm even having to do a big sigh every moment just to take in this beautiful nature, take in a deep breath, breathe out all the hot air. It is quite lovely. Ooh, there's our other friend, the other Birmingham, Tinyo, sitting away from the pride like we saw him sitting away yesterday, just slightly. He's got a lovely spot there. And in amongst the trees, though, it doesn't look too comfortable, but there's quite a nice bit of shade. Come on, buffalo bulls. It's time for you to come back now and have a little mud bath. It's lovely. There are no lions here. Oh, something's caught her attention. She's listening out into the distance. It's just amazing what they can hear. wonder what she has heard. Looking around quite a bit. Let's see what her next move is going to be. Isn't this lovely? Peaceful. Any afternoon spent with the Nkuhumas and some elephants is always a good one. Definitely starting to cool down now. What do you think, Brian? Or do you think it's just because we're not facing the sun anymore? Definitely starting to cool down, says Brian. And I hope it stays this way. I hope the temperature keeps decreasing. Oh, it looks like she's going to have a seat again. Ravi, what a fascinating question. This is what I absolutely love about this job, is hearing new sort of questions coming through all the time. Now, you're wondering what on earth prevents the lions from getting the various diseases that affect their teeth, and you're quite right, it is indeed their saliva with the various enzymes in their mouth. Remember, also around the mouth, it's an area that heals quite quickly, but like I said, I do definitely think that there's something in that saliva. What, I'm not 100% certain, that does help with their teeth. And I think also crunching on the bones and gnawing on them occasionally helps keep them healthy and strong as well. Little one having a good groom. And hopefully the rest of the pride will follow in this youngster's footsteps and start to groom itself. Now, they really do deserve to be sleeping after catching that buffalo yesterday, so I'm not even a little bit upset. I'll happily wait for them to wake up this afternoon. It's a much-deserved rest after that wonderful takedown, and hopefully they're going to do exactly the same thing for us again. Well, that one's got a very itchy head. Now, we're going to obviously keep tabs on the mange of the Nkuhuma cubs, but it seems as though it's really just the one cub that has picked it up. And it seems to be getting a little bit worse than what we were hoping. But let's hope that because it's slightly older than I think that what the Styx cubs were, that maybe it will be able to pull through. Speaking about mange, I know that Janet wants to know what effect does the rain have on the mange. I don't really think anything too bad. So normally parasites that are the form of a snail usually are affected by the rain. So when there is an abundance of water around, they seem to breed much better than rather when it is the drier seasons. They don't seem to be as active. And because the mange is more like a mite, I don't think it really matters on if there's a lot of water around or if it's a dry season at all. I think it also depends on what your larval stage is. So if your larvae needs to breed or needs to be in water, then you're going to have a little bit of a problem developing into the next stages or even hatching out of the eggs. So certain parasites and things need more water than others. So things like schistosomiosis by bilharzia, which is a disease that is contracted usually through the skin, and it's normally in stagnant water, and it's almost like a little snail, a microscopic snail, I suppose, and something like that, which I've actually had, unfortunately. I picked up in Zambia, which wasn't fun. It was when the turbines were turned off at Kariba Dam and the Great Zambezi River, the water levels dropped quite a bit They dropped about 3 meters, and we went fishing one afternoon, and I decided, which I normally wouldn't do, we were in a little channel, and there was a small pool of water. There were no crocodiles around, and it was super hot, so we decided to jump out and cool our feet, which was very silly, because all of us that did that unfortunately picked up a bilharzia. But I've been treated for it, but I have to keep going for tests to make sure that I don't get it back. It's not potentially life-threatening if you catch it early. It sort of gives you a bit of a fever. You feel a little bit on the tired side, but if you're not careful, it can develop into sort of leeches, I suppose, little snail. The snails go into your brain and can form cysts, and they can be quite dangerous. But lucky for me, I know that I have it, so I go for regular blood tests. It's not contagious or anything like that, so you're all safe. Don't worry about that. So something like that, when the drought seasons are around, it's quite nice, and that we know that the bilharzia is going to be at an absolute minimum. And all the ticks, though, seem to be doing all right, though they love the water. Normally after the first rains, a few days later, there's an explosion of ticks, which is not fun when you are walking and you walk through a tick nest. If you think that that sort of congregation of ticks on that lion's legs is bad, well, you must see what you look like after you've walked through a tick nest. It's not fun. You almost have to doom yourself completely in order to get rid of them, because trying to pick the hundreds of ticks that are all crawling around on you, that's never fun.